What's going on, guys? It's Kevin Sampson of PictureLockShow.com, and happy Father's Day. I just wanted to bring you my top 5 African American fathers in movies. So, for number 5, don't make fun of me, but Fairy side, by thy side we stand. Something says, praise thy name, praise thy name. You know how that song goes. You don't really know the lyrics, but you know, classic. I mean, yo, Joe Clark's face though when the boys started singing in the bathroom, he was like, my number 5 is Lean On Me. Now, of course, Morgan Freeman is Joe Clark, the tyrannical but lovable principal of East Side High. And while he wasn't necessarily a father, he was a huge father figure to all the students at the school. And the great thing about that film is that he sets the bar of excellence. He expects the children to be this excellent, and they're really down here in the beginning, but by the end of the film, they met what he expected. And so, again, it's a great film about a great teacher, but also a father figure in the community that calls these kids higher and helps them to excel. So, again, Morgan Freeman as Joe Clark, my number 5. I mean, it's a classic. Just a couple years after Lean On Me, 1991, we saw Boyz in the Hood. And Lawrence Fishburne played Furious Styles. And I mean, wow, it's a classic character role. I mean, the movie was more about the children coming up in the ghetto of Los Angeles, but his role is memorable. I mean, he was just that father that was actually kind of cool, but educated, and he called his son higher, and he wanted his son to just get out of the hood. But at the same time, he kept it real with his son. He would have conversations with his son. He was that father that, he didn't take any mess. He made sure that his kid was outside working. But he kept it real with his son, and is just one of those examples of fatherhood that is really good to see in our community. So my number 4 is definitely Furious Styles and Boyz in the Hood. Now, I don't know why I'm sticking in this 89 through 91 era. I mean, maybe that says something about our films at the time. But my number 3 is 1990's Ghost Dad. I mean, when you think about dads, and especially African American dads in film or TV, you gotta think about Bill Cosby. And in Ghost Dad, he played Elliot Hooper, who was a widower with 3 kids, and he was just trying to provide for his kids. He was working hard. He gets in the wrong taxi. Taxi gets into an accident. He dies, kind of. His soul is floating. He's like a ghost. But he's still just fighting to make sure that he takes care of his kids, even though he's floating around and trying to get back into his body. The movie used to be hilarious, and if you're born in the 80s, you know this movie was a classic. My brother and I, we used to watch the little girl run in slow motion to her father at the end in the hospital, and just crack up every time. If you watch it, it's hilarious. Watching it in slow motion, hilarious. But Ghost Dad, number 3. Moving right along. My number 2 is definitely going to be the dynamic duo before After Earth. In 2006, Will and Jaden Smith starred in The Pursuit of Happiness, and man, was that a great film, based on the real life of Chris Gardner. Will Smith plays Chris Gardner, a salesman that's not doing too well with sales. In fact, he's doing so bad that he winds up actually being homeless, and he's on the street with his son. So he makes this decision that he's going to change his future, And by doing that, he goes after it, and he actually does, becoming a stockbroker, and it's a success story. But the trials and tribulations that he faces along the way is what makes the film just a tearjerker. And so, there's 3 ways that you can cry in that film, and I've explained that in another video. You should check that out. But number 2 is definitely The Pursuit of Happiness, Will Smith as Chris Gardner. All right, drum roll, please. All right, guys, we finally made it. My number 1 is going to be one that's probably not even on most people's radar, but 2002's John Q. It stars Denzel Washington as a father whose insurance is not going to cover his son's heart transplant. And what does he do? He takes things into his own hands, and he holds an emergency room hostage. And man, talk about the ultimate sacrifice. The scene in which Denzel is willing to kill himself just so that his son can have his heart is gripping. Wow. Chilling. If you haven't seen it, you definitely should. And in John Q, you have an example of a father who is willing to go to whatever lengths to ensure that his child is able to live. Granted, holding up an emergency room is probably not something that's suggested. He does serve time for it at the end, but, it's a pretty good movie. Happy Father's Day, all the dads out there. If you agree or disagree with any of my selections, please let me know. What did you think? Did you like it, or did you have a better suggestion? Honorable mentions? Let me know right down there in the comment section. Make sure that you check out picturelockshow.com. And as always, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel right when I finish talking. And make sure you stay locked on film.